Hi, we're back again. This is part 3 on Blackboard. And again, we're taking a look here at our main interface. And I want to talk about, over here, you see this little star. That little star says there's something new. So you might want to take a look. Now, typically, I'll put new stuff up on the front page. But sometimes it may not be there. Here, we have an assessment. Now, most of the time, the only classes that I do assessments on Blackboard are 1301 classes, and that's because assessments on Blackboard don't really do what I need them to do for programming type courses or other classes. So other classes, your assessments will be assignments. They'll just be a test that you take as an assignment and you submit for a grade. Here is an actual example of an assessment. Now, this isn't the kind of assessment you're going to see in 1301. This is just a test that I found to open up. So I'm going to click on this. And what it's going to tell me is it's available starting November 20th in 2007. Okay, so it's an old test. It has an unlimited time that it's available. Typically, that's what I'll set tests to, just because I've opened them up, they're there, I don't care when you take them, I'm not going to cut you off. However, I will say, at the end of the semester, I do have to submit grades. If you haven't taken it by then, well, you're going to be out of luck. Now, here it tells us we have a 1 hour duration. Honestly, I try to have assessments that don't have a time limit on them, but this one has a time limit. Our final exam has to have a time limit, so we'll talk about it with a time limit. Now, we can look at instructions and troubleshooting, but that's meh. As you can see, here's the instructions if you want to take a read on that. I'm going to begin the assessment, and what's going to happen is it's going to pop up this window, and in this window are my questions. You can see all the questions here, and I can see I've got 6 of them. Now, I can see the time, which is the current time. I can also see the time that's allowed, and I can see the time that I have remaining. On an untimed test, allowed and remaining are either blank or they're all zeros. Doesn't matter. This time always shows because, hey, what would be a test be if you didn't have a seconds counter ticking away and making you nervous? Here, this of course is here because it is timed and you need to be nervous. Anyway, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to start answering, and I'm just going to arbitrarily pick a couple of answers. Okay. Now, notice over here there's an exclamation point now. That says, hey, you answered this question, but you haven't saved your answer. What does that mean? Well, if I haven't saved my answer, that means that it's just right here. It's like if you've got a Scantron and you've got a sheet of paper next to you and write down, I think the answer to number 1 is 3, but I don't want to mark that yet. Well, then it's not on the Scantron. This isn't on the Scantron yet. If I click Save Answer, notice that's a check mark. That says the answer has been saved. That means WebCT knows that I've answered that question and what answer I put down. It doesn't mean I can't change it. I can't go, it means I can still go back in and go, oh, you know what? I meant 3. I didn't mean 1. I'll save it again. Now it's 3. That's fine. That's great. Now, I'm intentionally not going to answer 2 because I want to show you what happens. If this window should crash or your internet connection should drop or something like that, oh God, the test is gone. Well, actually, when I come back to this page, I can begin assessment. Or in the case of, let me close that out. In the case of returning to the page, it will actually say continue assessment. So continue assessment. Notice it remembered the answer I picked for number 1, but it didn't remember number 2 because I didn't save that. So if you're working on a non-timed test and you've answered all the questions, make sure if you're not saving as you go, oh wait, that's not right. If you're not saving as you go, make sure you click on Save All. That way it saves all of your answers. If you answer half of the questions And since it's not a timed test, you want to go do something else for a while. Save all and just close the window and come back to it. Here, we have a timed test. Typically, I don't want to just quit out of a timed test. Now, if you're in one lab and they go, hey, you got to get out and go down the hall, close out, go to the lab down the hall, log back in, continue your assessment, and go back to work. No problems. Now, the timer keeps running, so if we waited 10 minutes, it would actually count off 10 minutes of time, even if I wasn't logged in. Now, when I'm done with the test, I'm going to click on Finish. It says, are you sure you want to submit your assignment? Now, if I haven't answered some questions, it will list the unanswered questions. So make sure you take a look. I'm going to say OK. Notice the submission is in progress. Blip. Submitted. I'll say OK. Now, normally, I can come into this test and I can view my submissions. And notice it says status graded, score not released. You should always see your score. Now, this one was set up so it wouldn't release the scores, but you should always see a score here. If you don't see the score, if you see this, then you need to get a hold of me either online or in the classroom and tell me, because that's not on purpose. I want you to know exactly how well you did. Okay, so that's assessments on Blackboard. And tune in next time where, actually we'll do it right now. See this? This is the syllabus. If you click on that, there's your syllabus. And you can go over here and click on printable version. It'll pop it up in a new window and you can just print that off. Yay. If you don't want to get stuck with this thing up here, which is in a separate frame for some inexplicable reason, go into this frame and print that frame. Anyway, huzzah. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again later.